Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are going to check out another of these Mesozoic Planet, aka Prehistoric Planet figures from Marco Makes. This is the only other one that I have currently, hoping to eventually complete the line as he releases them. But this time we have the Velociraptor, and yet again Marco has done a phenomenal job on not only the figure, but the incredible packaging that goes with it. But one thing to take note of with this one is the actual packaging that you would get when he does release this, because he hasn't actually released the Velociraptor quite yet. He just gave me the opportunity to get a hold of one a little bit early because we're friends, and also because he's one of the coolest guys that has ever existed on this planet. But as you can see, again, the packaging is a little bit faded on this one, and he wanted to let me know that it is a little faded because this is actually like a prototype. This isn't how nice the packaging will actually look when you do get one, when you order it from him. If you saw the T-Rex review, you will have seen how nice and vibrant the packaging looked in that one. Well, it's not quite the same here with the Raptor. Honestly, I don't really notice too much of a difference other than it being slightly faded, but he did let me know that, and I wanted to let you guys know that again. The packaging of mine is more of like a prototype, so it's a little bit faded compared to how nice and vibrant it will be if you guys order one when he does officially release these Velociraptors. But again, I love the fact that we have the desert setting, because that is exactly where we are introduced to the Velociraptor in Prehistoric Planet. And then you also again have the name of the episode that it's from, which is Deserts, the Mesozoic Planet. Logo over here, the Marco Makes logo down here, the Velociraptor species title right there, as well as another image there of the head sculpt of our Velociraptor, and then handmade dinosaur figure for adult collectors only, made in England. Honestly, reviewing these figures makes me want to go watch Prehistoric Planet so bad. I think I'm definitely going to do that. But then as far as the back of the box goes, again, you can see Velociraptor, Deserts, and Mesozoic Planet up there. You also have an incredibly cool image here of the Velociraptors in the desert. Really nice dinosaur toy photography right there. You also have an image here showing off the comparison between a human being and the Velociraptor. And I can definitely see now, looking at the back of the packaging, that it's a little bit faded compared to the T-Rex packaging, and why he would want me to mention that. But I think it honestly still looks really nice. And then just like the T-Rex here on the back of the packaging, we have a little bit of information about the Velociraptor. Velociraptors' bodies are kept warm by feathers, but they can't fly. Why would a flightless predator like Velociraptor need feathers in the first place? Feathers are useful for so much more than just flying. For an animal like Velociraptor, feathers would have helped to control movement, particularly when the animal was leaping, climbing, or changing direction during a hunt, and that would have allowed them to succeed even in the most difficult terrains. Feathers would have made Velociraptors even more deadly, allowing them to attack unsuspecting prey where no other hunter would be able to venture. Handmade dinosaur figure, again, adult collectors only, made in England. And I just realized that the other Velociraptors down here, there's actually 3 of them, just like you see in Prehistoric Planet. When we see the Velociraptors, there are 3. I only noticed these 2 up here, and as I was reading this and got over to this point, I'm like, wait a minute, there's an eye peeking through there, and I noticed the other Velociraptor right there. Shows how observant I am, I guess. But so excited to take a look at this again after reviewing the T-Rex and seeing how amazing that was. I'm really psyched to check this out. So let's pop this out of the packaging right now. And here is our Velociraptor. And, oh, I leaned it back a little bit too far. There we go. And just like the T-Rex, it stands really nicely. Let's check the stability of it. Look at that. That's pretty good. That stands really, really nicely. And such a beautiful Velociraptor. Look at that. That is easily the best Velociraptor that I have in my collection. There is no doubt about that. That is just a gorgeous, gorgeous Velociraptor. Perfect looking as far as the, Prehistoric Planet version goes, but just in general, like, had I never seen Prehistoric Planet, like, this thing is incredible as far as what a Velociraptor looks like. That is about as perfect as it gets. So let's go ahead, jump straight to a closer look at this right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Velociraptor, look at how perfect that head sculpt is. Like, that is as exact as you would like to see it when it comes to a Velociraptor head sculpt. Really nice paintwork as well when it comes to anything Marco delivers. When it's a fully painted figure, it's always filled with fantastic paintwork. You could see some beautiful, really nice, very fine detailing there in the snout of our Velociraptor, as well as some really nice paintwork. There's quite a bit of color variation in there, almost like a variation of like grays, browns, and kind of a speckling in there as well. You could see that the nostrils are very nicely sculpted out, nicely elaborated as well. The mouth as well is closed, And again, that's exactly how the old Walking with Dinosaurs figures always were, with the mouths closed, except for a few like the Postosuchus and the Lioplorodon. But as far as like, the majority of like the theropods and stuff, they usually had their mouths closed, and you can see that's exactly how we have our Velociraptor here. But he has highlighted the closed mouth very nicely with a darker tone of color. You can see the eyes are painted with a yellow, giving a nice black pupil. We darken the coloration there around the eye with the black, but you can also see some really nice whites leading up here into the face on the lower jaw, as well as up there on the upper jaw, and then here around the top of the head. Beautiful feather detail as well, starting to pick up here. You can see that starting to show up, of course, here on the top of the head as we transition to a grayish coloration for the majority of the body, because that is the coloration of the Velociraptor in Prehistoric Planet. And he's done a really good job of highlighting the feather detail very nicely with a dark dry brushing. As you lead down the course of the figure, you can really see how those feathers pop quite nicely. And you can also see that that white there around the face continues to run down, kind of stripes down here along the course of the neck, but we also have a black coloration that stripes down along the course of the neck next to that white. And then here on the underside, if we turn it over, you can see the throat first of all, as well as some nice fine detailing there in the underside of the lower jaw. But you can also see some nice color difference there. We have like a nice really light tone of color right there as we transition down a little further to a brown. And if we get nice and close, you can see how beautiful the skin texture is. You can see a few skin wrinkles and stuff right there in the throat, kind of showing off the positioning of the head currently. As we lead back up here into the body, again, you can see lots of really nice, really fine feathers all over our Velociraptor. But as we lead down here into the arm and lead down here into those beautiful feathers, you can see a really nice display of plumage here in the arms of our Velociraptor. You can see a nice striping of whites, blacks, and grays that kind of run down the course of the raptor's arm here as far as the feathers and everything. It looks super nice. And as we get close, you can see how nice and beautiful each and every feather is. And even on the black areas, you can kind of see like a nice dry brushing over it to highlight all of the detail beautifully. And then when we lead down here to the underside of the raptor, you can see again some beautiful detailing here running along the chest region down into the stomach region, but you can also see the hands of the raptor right there. You can see they are painted kind of with like I would say like a goldish brown, and you can see that we have the fingernails as well, really nicely sculpted out, painted with a nice glossy black, and he's even dry brushed over those to really highlight the detail on the fingernails as well. You can see the undersides of the feathers also sport the really nice dry brushing as well as the grayish tone of color. We also have some white in there, and then the black there on the tips of the feathers of the underside of our Velociraptor. Really, really nice looking sculpt and paintwork. You can't see too much going on in the stomach region because the feathers of the arm really kind of like obscure it. You can't see too much going on in there, but it looks beautiful from what we can see. Again, the feather detail continues to look really, really nice, and he's done such a good job with this dry brushing where it, has that nice light gray appearance, but it's all really popping the feather detail with that dry brushing. As you move back here, you can pick up on the thigh. You can't see too much muscle definition or anything going on because, of course, it's completely obscured with the feathers. The feathers kind of hide that aspect. But as you move down into the calf, you can see that we transition to a brown. You can also make out the appearance of the calf muscle right there, and then leading down to the foot, you start to see some more of the skin texture. You can kind of see like mixtures of like grays as well as that kind of goldish brown coloration that we have there. You can see that we have some nice scoots running down the toes. Beautiful sickle claw, and just like with the Rex, again, the nails genuinely look like they could be sharp, so that is a really nice realistic aspect to the figure. Really beautiful paintwork, very precise paintwork as well. You can see the nails have that nice glossy black. They look excellent. Even the undersides of the feet have some really nice detail. You can now see the dew claws there as well. And then leading back up here into the tail, you can see actually the brown here of the underside transitions to that white. And again, we have like a grayish dry brushing down here to highlight all of the white of the underside of our Velociraptor, and it looks really cool as you lead out here into the big area of tail feathers, and you can see how awesome that looks. And then we have the black that kind of runs and borders around the outer edge of the tail feathers. But looking at it from up here on the top, again, you can see the nice grayish tones with that nice black dry brushing, but you start to see the kind of white pick up here on the side as the tail feathers extend and become really beautiful. You can also see that it's more like a right here, it's like a black, but bordering on a very dark gray, but definitely a black here on the outer edge. But you can see it kind of stripes and outlines the white areas of the feathers. But the feathers themselves, again, look phenomenal as far as the detail goes. And that's such a beautiful paint scheme that Prehistoric Planet had chosen for their Velociraptor, and Marco has applied it to his figure with perfect precision and accuracy. And then you can again see the opposing side. But being that these are kind of basically updated versions of a Walking with Dinosaurs style figure for the Prehistoric Planet documentary, you could see that again, it's in a stagnant neutral pose. That's exactly how the Walking with Dinosaurs figures were. That was the inspiration for these Prehistoric Planet, or Mesozoic Planet figures, I guess you should say. And that's why we have that type of a pose. So you're not really going to see too much difference over here compared to what we had seen on the initial side, but it honestly looks amazing from every angle. Such a gorgeous, gorgeous Velociraptor, and undoubtedly the best Velociraptor that I have in my collection. As far as a size goes, for a length on our Velociraptor, you were looking at about 9 inches, or right around the, I would say, about 22.5 centimeter range. The raptor's crouched kind of forward a little bit, so the highest point would be the tail. You're looking at right around 2.5 inches, maybe a little over, or about 6.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to our Marco Makes Mesozoic Planet Velociraptor, and you can really see that it does sport a pretty decent size, definitely a good length with all of those tail feathers out there. But just like the T-Rex, it's not huge, although I would say as far as the Raptor goes, this kind of falls right in the same similar size range that you normally see for a Velociraptor like this. But for another size comparison, there is a Mattel Velociraptor next to the Marco Makes version. You can definitely see that they are kind of a similar size, but the Mattel version's a little bit bigger. A lot more inaccurate, but a little bit bigger. But for another comparison, there is the Mesozoic Planet T-Rex next to the Mesozoic Planet Velociraptor. You can see that they both are a very similar size. Of course, the proportions are quite different, like the Rex is bigger and bulkier when it comes to body mass, and the Raptor is slender and definitely, I would say, a little bit longer than our Rex, but they are very, very similar in size for sure. And then for another comparison, here is one of the most underrated Safari LTD figures potentially of all time, as we have the older, I believe now retired Velociraptor next to the Marco Makes one, and I will say these two look super cool together. They honestly look like they were meant to be together as far as looking like a really cool member of the Velociraptor pack. So this brand new Marco Makes Mesozoic Planet, aka Prehistoric Planet, Velociraptor figure is fantastic. I would say just as nice as the Rex, maybe even a little nicer. It is just really, really well done. The sculpt is phenomenal. As always, Marco is just continuously improving all the time when it comes to his sculpting abilities. And now that he's moved on to, well, not really moved on, he still hand sculpts stuff entirely, but he also 3D sculpts things, and I believe that's how he's created these new Mesozoic Planet figures, was 3D sculpting. And you can see again that he is just delivering some of his best work of all time nowadays, and I think that both the Rex and this Velociraptor, they're pretty good examples of just how good Marco is when it comes to anything he does, because again, he was focusing on the Jurassic type of line before with different Jurassic Park, Jurassic World dinosaur figures. Now he's creating a lot of really cool Prehistoric Planet figures, so he's gone from very highly inaccurate dinosaurs to now really highly accurate dinosaurs. And again, there's some of the coolest and most beautiful dinosaur figures I've ever seen. This Velociraptor is fantastic. Fingers crossed he makes the Carnotaurus from Prehistoric Planet at some point soon, because of course I want the Carnotaurus. On top of being an amazing looking Carnotaurus in that series, he was also adorable with his little dance that he did. But the Velociraptor that we have here, again, sculpt-wise, phenomenal. He has captured every ounce of detail that you would expect to see, as well as a perfect look as far as screen accuracy goes. This thing is incredible when it comes to the way it looks on Prehistoric Planet. It looks literally like he grabbed the raptor out of the screen, brought it to life, and set it here for me. The paint job as well is perfect as far as what it looks like on Prehistoric Planet. He has captured that really nice, really natural look that they've given the Velociraptor from Prehistoric Planet and applied it in perfect fashion to his model, which is something that Marco's always been very good at, but it's just so cool to see him, switch things up and take a stab at something like this and just excel so wonderfully at it. And he's done a great job of applying the paintwork in a really realistic and lifelike way with different dry brushing techniques and everything, where all of the detail is highlighted beautifully through the course of the entire figure. And on top of that, again, you have that really cool kind of walking with dinosaurs type of a look for this, which is something that I absolutely know and love. I've been a huge fan of those old walking with dinosaurs figures for years, trying very slowly to at least get close to completing the collection. I don't think it'll ever get complete because the Ornithocheirus is impossible to find, but we're getting there as far as those figures go. But the Velociraptor here, as well as that Rex, again, kind of having that same walking with dinosaurs type of look and feel, is just so cool, so nostalgic, making these figures even cooler than they already were. So if you are interested in this, the best way to find out when this goes up for sale, of course, I will let you guys know in news videos, but would also be to follow Marco on all of his social media outlets and, of course, his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel specifically is probably one of the most important places you can go when it comes to anything Marco makes, because every time he releases a new figure, he usually has a video to go with it. So he'll play the video, then at the end of the video, that's when the figure officially launches. So that's usually the best way to know when he is putting more stuff up on his Etsy shop. But again, make sure you follow Marco on all of those social media outlets. Make sure you pick this Velociraptor up when it does go up for sale, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.